You've got to invest in yourself first. Understand what you're investing in. I expect you to read at least one book every year. One book, one good financial book. Someone reached out to me. It broke my heart. She lost like almost £7,000. I know a consultant who also, before they joined the community, lost almost £100,000 in real estate investments abroad. Look, you know all those guys are approaching Dubai. I was approached too. Last time I was in Dubai, they even provided me with a lovely limo. They gave me free tickets to go to the safari. Why? They wanted to send me some real estate in Dubai. I enjoyed everything they offered, but when they found out I wasn't going to invest any money, they got upset. They said, okay, it's fine, you can enjoy, bye. Part of the reason I was able to say, oh, I'm done with salary job, paid job, okay, good, I'll be fine, was not just because I had a lot of faith in myself. Of course, I have faith in myself, but part of it was because I had an emergency fund. Now, 7 steps to take before investing. We've already mentioned some of them. Can someone who is feeling quite confident, or if you remember any of them, write them in the chat box for me? Any of the steps you remember. I'm just going to be looking at the chat box. There are 7 steps we suggest that you take before you start investing. A MONEYWISE doctor, there are lots of people who attended our 4 weeks deep dive. So we had this 4 weeks program that is just investing. We'll start from the beginning. Some people who join this program, they are absolute brand new novices, never invested in their life, and at the end of 4 weeks, they've learned how to invest. And some of them are ready, they start investing. Some have to wait. Why? Because they've not completed the 7 steps. So is there. It said have an emergency fund. Excellent, Eze. Okay, I'm just for time, I'm going to run through the 7 steps. I've already given a lot of rationale to say before you start investing, you need to set the background right. You need to make sure that things are in the right place. You don't want to start building a house without foundation. So number 1, we've already talked about it a lot. Have your emergency fund. And to give some context, I said that part of the reason I was able to say, oh, I'm done with salary job, paid job, okay, good, I'll be fine. Part of why I was able to do that was not just because I had a lot of faith in myself. Of course, I have faith in myself, but I also had a 1-year-old and a wife who was going to ask me to explain a few things, and he had a mortgage and all that stuff. Part of it was because I had an emergency fund. I had like a decent emergency fund. So the emergency fund is like your cushion. What is an emergency fund? 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses. 3 to 6 months. Now, people have asked me on the YouTube channel and in different platforms, are you saying 3 to 6 months of my thank you, are you saying 3 to 6 months of my salary? I was like, no, your living expenses. If your salary is 4,000 but your living expenses is 2,000, your emergency fund is 2,000 times 3 or 2,000 times 6, or in my case, if you haven't got a job, you haven't got a pension, all that stuff, 2,000 times 12. Just what makes you comfortable, what you're happy with. But for most of you here who've got a regular salary job and you've got NHS pension and you've got all of that in place, 3 months might be okay. I even know people who've got a month and then they start trying to build it up as they go. Especially I've had some friends who basically in the community who started with a month, then paid off some debt and then came back and built it up to 3 months. But the emergency fund is basically your cushion before you start investing. That's step 1. Okay. Now, step 2 is obviously what you're doing now. Invest in yourself first. You're investing in your education. You're learning how to invest. You're not letting people tell you. So many people are losing so much. It's unbelievable. I get all this. After my last investment masterclass, someone reached out to me. It broke my heart. She lost like almost £7,000. Just from someone said, oh, there's this crypto stuff you can do. We open the account. The funny part is that she didn't even know anything about crypto at that point. But the person opened her account, put in £100. Okay, don't worry, to clear it, put in another 500 and all that. And these scams are old. They are not new. They've been around. They just sort of change pattern. And for some people, it's not even a scam. They lose money in legitimate investments because they don't understand it. I know a consultant who also, before they joined the community, lost almost £100,000 in real estate investments abroad. Look, you know all those guys are approaching Dubai. I was approached too. Last time I was in Dubai, they even provided me with a lovely limo. They gave me free tickets to go to the safari. Why? They wanted to send me some real estate in Dubai. I enjoyed everything they offered, but when they found out I wasn't going to invest any money, they got upset. And They said, okay, it's fine, you can enjoy, bye. I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in real estate in Dubai. If you understand Dubai and understand Dubai real estate, I think it's the best place you can get the best returns, risk-free or risk-adjusted. Go for it. But if not, why are you investing? Someone says like like a few years ago, someone approached me to buy bonds in Austria. Like, I don't know Austria. I don't understand the market in Austria. The returns might be better than the UK returns. Why do I go and invest in there? Let me invest in what I understand. I've invested in a few markets I understand in different countries. The same with you. You've got to invest in yourself first. Understand what you're investing in. That might mean reading a book. That might mean attending a seminar. That might mean attending a course. And for some of you, like those have already booked the 4 weeks deep dive, or those in the mastermind, that is their own investment. So you're investing in yourself first. And for you as a doctor or healthcare professional, you're very busy. You have a family. I don't expect you to read 57 books like I read last year. I don't know who is counting anymore. I don't expect you to read that many books on different things. These are my interests. I read on economics, history, and the rest of it. But I expect you to read at least one book every year. One book, one good financial book. You can make it. Even if you don't read it, you can do it through Audible. So you can read. If you don't know where to start from, I've made a list of 12 books, and everyone who is in the mastermind gets a book from me, especially those that were in the first 10 that joined the last time. They get like a personal finance book. You've got to read this book this year. So reading one book, attending one seminar, and following a newsletter or podcast or something every week that can just give you little bites of information. Oh, look at what has changed in taxes.
This is how to get financially smarter in just 5 minutes. Sometimes the difference between making smarter financial decisions and costly, horrible financial mistakes is having the right information at the right time for the right person. So every week I write the MONEYWISE Doctor weekly newsletter. It's an email newsletter packed full with valuable financial insights and updates to help you make smarter financial decisions and avoid costly mistakes. Some of the areas I've been covering over the last 70 weeks include actionable tips on tax strategies, pensions, investing, side hustles, and several other financial areas. Now, join thousands of medics who subscribe to the MONEYWISE Doctor weekly newsletter to receive it straight to your inbox, and it's totally free. Don't miss out. Subscribe now using the link in the description. And now let's jump right back to the episode.
Like some of you weren't aware that your pension has now become part of your estate for inheritance tax if you live beyond 75. So this is a change that happened in October, Halloween last year, and most people didn't know about it. And a conference recently, when I mentioned it, some of the consultants, very senior, were very surprised. Yeah, but these are things that we write about in our newsletter, in our podcast. Is a 5 minutes quick read. So one book, one newsletter, or one podcast, or even somebody you follow on YouTube, wherever, or a blog, and then one seminar. One book, one seminar. That way you can invest in yourself. That's step 2. Step 3, conduct a personal financial audit. If you don't know how to do a personal financial audit, I'm going to share a link. That's MONEYWISE Doctor Quiz. You can actually go and do a quiz. It's a personal financial audit. It goes through basically areas where you can check, am I making a financial mistake here? Are you financially healthy? You take the quiz. It takes 3 minutes basically, and you can go through it. Okay, yeah, I can see someone. Yeah, thank you. He has already shared it. So MONEYWISE Doctor quiz. You can do a financial audit to check before you start investing. This is one of the steps. Remember step 1, we said your emergency fund, then invest in yourself. Then step 3, you do a financial audit. You might find out in the financial audit that actually you have a credit card that is 27% interest. I'm thinking, no, I need to pay off that 27% interest, because even if I invest and I get 20%, I'm taking a risk to get the 20%. Meanwhile, if I pay off my credit card, I get 27% immediately. So you need to do an audit. So go through it to say, okay, have I claimed my tax relief? You're rushing to invest, but if the government is owing you £10,000 because you've not claimed tax relief for 5 years or more than that, then you want to get that risk-free money. That might be the money you need to invest actually. So these are a few areas to look at, okay? Now, number 4, obviously we mentioned it. Establish a financial defensive strategy. So you're looking at things like income protection, life insurance. We hear too much now of people who die and they don't have a life insurance in place and their family is suddenly struggling. Remember that life insurance, you want to make sure that you put it in a trust. Again, talking about tax. If someone passes on, unfortunately, their estate as a whole, they are liable to inheritance tax. Even though they've paid tax on all their income, now if the person passes on, then the government will say you need to pay 40% inheritance tax. Did you know that? If you knew that, can you give me a thumbs up? Let's count. Okay, so out of how many hundreds of people here? 109 here at the moment. A few people know that. Good. I can see very familiar names, some who have been in our community of former previous seminars. So if your estate is up to £325,000, you've got to pay inheritance tax, and 325,000 is not a lot of money. If you've worked as a doctor for a number of years, if you buy a property, your house is worth maybe 250 or 400k. You've already crossed 325. If you have a life insurance and it's 300k or 500k, merge it together, your pension, before you know it, you've crossed 325k. And if you're a couple, it's 500k. So you can assume that, okay, you're going to be liable. Your estate needs some sort of planning for inheritance tax. Now, if you're taking out the life insurance, I mean, none of us is hoping for this, but let's just say someone takes out a life insurance and they're paying 20 quid or 30 quid. And unfortunately, if the person passes, so I'm not talking in abstract here. Some of you that know me know I lost a friend of mine last 2 years. He died at 36 years, childhood friend, lovely guy, surgeon in London. We've been friends since we were teenagers. And he just went to bed. He didn't wake up. So it's not like I'm not just talking, assuming this happens and that happens. And even when that happens, you might be able to raise money and all that, but how much do you really raise? You might raise 30k or 40k. But imagine if there's a life insurance in place for 500k, the family gets 500k. But if the money was just a regular life insurance and it was not placed inside a trust, obviously the government is going to need some of it as inheritance tax, and inheritance tax is 40%. But if it's placed in a trust, the trust is like separate from you. Just like if you work for a limited company, the limited company earns income, but it's separate from you. So the trust could actually be an equipment or a tool to hold that life insurance so that it's not part of your estate. And if the person passes, I hope this doesn't sound confusing, but if the person passes, their family gets the whole 500k and is not considered as part of their estate.
Now, this is a very crucial topic. Have you secured your family's financial future? Many times you're busy as doctors and healthcare professionals, that's fine, but if we overlook our life insurance and income protection until it's too late, we're taking a bit of a risk here. I mean, nobody can predict the future. You need to protect what matters most. Think about life insurance and income protection. This is really quite important to protect your most valuable assets. Now, if you're not sure about what you need or how to go about it, check the link in the description. I have a free guide that can help you step by step. Let's get back to the episode.
If this is the only thing you learn, this could actually be worth like 200, 300k to some people, basically. And most people don't think about it till it's too late, okay? Yeah, so it's really important. If you've got a life insurance, go back and check, is it in a trust? If it's not in a trust, then you need to be speaking to whoever that set up the life insurance for you to ask them, okay, how do we set it up in a trust? Or think about speaking to an insurance advisor who can actually help you to check the market, make sure you got the right deal, and then put it in a trust, okay? If you're not sure, if you need any help in that regard, send us a message at support@moneywisedoctor.com, or again, chat our WhatsApp number, okay? Right, so that's financial defensive strategy. Financial defensive strategy includes things like your emergency funds, your life insurance, your income protection. Some of you might have seen the podcast with them. Dr. Ruth Machine was a radiology consultant who, on Christmas Day 2020, sad news, Christmas Day, suddenly developed optic neuritis and couldn't now work as a radiologist. I mean, it's 5 years now. She's not been back to work as a doctor. Fortunately for her, she said to me on the podcast, she had this income protection, which meant that they had to be paying her every month as a consultant, even though she was no longer working. I mean, it ended beautifully. She's retrained as a health coach and she's thriving. But she said to me that they could have actually been in danger of losing their house because she was a consultant. Her husband was a radiographer, obviously had an income, but they had a big mortgage and she was earning more money. So basically, these are all the financial defensive strategies we ask people to think about before jumping into investing. Number one, invest in yourself, have your emergency fund, then have your financial defensive strategy, including things like life insurance, income protection. And if you're a doctor, healthcare professional, of course, I don't need to tell you about MDU, MDDUS. These are all protection. So that even if someone sues you, it doesn't be the end of your journey. It doesn't mean that you're going to get wiped out, okay? Right. Now, these are some of the steps. There are a few other steps like eliminating high interest debt. I've mentioned it. Define clear investment goals and educate yourself continuously. These are some of the 7 steps. You can see Yudi from my team clearly shows someone climbing up the staircase one at a time. Before we proceed, I think we're running over a little bit on time here. Before we proceed, has anyone got a question around the 7 steps?
Yeah, hi. So my question is around the ISA. Sorry, I'm taking you back. So, assuming I open an ISA for my child, who is now 18 plus.
Yeah.
And God forbid, but anything could happen, and this child becomes incapacitated. What happens to the money?
Okay, so these a bit nuanced. Again, we're not hoping for that to happen, and I don't know if you mind me sharing. Dr. Keji shared she's part of the mastermind, and she also attended investment masterclass. But she said she watches my videos with her son. Yeah. I thought, look, sometimes I don't feel like making these videos, but sometimes I get this feedback. I'm like, and you did save a bit of money on tax as well.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Thank you. I know you're a private person, so I'm not. I don't want to share the exact amount, but it's a lot of money. But again, very proud of the journey you've come on so far. I'm very proud. I always use you as an example that you don't really need to know everything. You can just start from where you are, and you're a consultant. You're busy already with work and everything. But given that background, I would say if a child becomes incapacitated, this is not a usual circumstance. I suspect you'll be able to do something about the lifetime ISA. The junior ISA. You should be able to assess it. Because remember that there's something called next of kin, and some people have power of attorney. So you can set up power of attorney. If a child that is less than 18, automatically they'll defer to the parents. If the child is above 18 and they're not married, they'll defer to the family as well. If they are married, if a child is above 18, or we'll not call them a child anymore, right? But if someone is above 18 and if they are married, then their spouse, if they're married or even if they're not married, they've got like I'm trying to remember the term. You've got someone who lives with you, your partner, civil partner or something. I can't remember.
Civil partnership. Yeah.
Civil partnership. Yeah. So that civil partner will also be in a position to, get access to it. Yeah, but these are nuanced situations, and these are situations that would obviously involve a bit of involving, I'll say, not a lawyer per se, but you should be able to write to the bank, say this is what's going on. But usually, if the child is terminally ill or dead, then the lifetime ISA, the parents should be able to assess it. It's very grim, but if you don't have these hard discussions, and I'm glad you're talking to medics here, so you're not used to having difficult conversations, and it's better to have the hard thoughts, think about these things, rather than being caught unawares. Well, I hope you found that helpful. And more importantly, I hope it helped you to see investing in a new light. This is just a small section of what we cover in the full masterclass. If you'd like me to drop more of these clips, just let me in the comments. Comment invest and share this video as well with friends who may need to hear this. And if you are ready to stop winging it and guessing, guesswork is not good for investing. If you want to learn how to become a confident investor, to learn how to invest properly, check out our investing readiness scorecard with the links in the description to help you determine whether you're really ready to start investing and what you need to do before you even start thinking about investing to reduce the chances of you losing money. And until then, see you soon. Bye-bye.